Hi TransByDef, it's Jenna. This week's topic is going to be coming out and coming out stories and advice on that, or experiences. I'm going to do some levity in mine, also because I'm sure quite a few of us will talk about the serious nature of it, and we all know how serious it is when you're about to drop the bomb, whether it's with family, friends, or at work. My advice to anyone that's going to come out is to have a really well-rounded, thought-out, planned, no seat of the pants agenda on how you're going to do it, and I would work with that because this is how I did it. I worked with a therapist on the right way to do it, and I put all the plans in place for work, especially. Not so much with friends, because that's a little bit easier, and even family's a little bit easier. But when you're talking about your livelihood and work, it really puts a whole new spin on things. I was in the same job for many, many years when I dropped the gender bomb on them, and I did retain my job, though I can tell you that I've never been under so much stress in my entire life. I did work that through with a therapist, and that would probably be how that went down would probably be a story for out in the workplace, not so much as a coming out in general. I had thought this out pretty well, even though, like Harley, I heard that you can do moans for 3 months, and the effects were not permanent, so I too, and I don't suggest this to anybody, but I too did hormones that I bought from New Zealand, from Auckland, New Zealand, through Fiji, and pretty much probably as many other people have done over the years, to try them for 3 months. And after about 10 days, my body and mind were saying, "Oh, you finally figured it out." And I stayed the course after that, and there's a whole bunch of story that goes with that, but we're talking about coming out today and how you do that. And I did it in two major places. I'm a volunteer firefighter. I did it there, and I also did it at work, and I did it with obviously my family, who basically my parents, I cut them out of my life because I just knew that there would be too much stress there for that period of time, and that I had to be employable and they weren't going to pay my bills. So they were kind of left out of the sink and had to come to speed through friends of mine from home that I grew up with, that they still knew where they were and how to talk with them. But I wanted to do some levity today on my coming out story, and I had as serious as this is, sometimes it's fun too. I've had the same friends for I'm pretty loyal that way forever. And there was I was an odd duck growing up, and I met another guy that was an odd duck, an English guy that was an odd duck that went to high school, and we both had moved into town from out, so it was kind of like we became friends because we had that in common, that we weren't from there. And we grew up together, and we stayed friends together, and to this day we're still close friends. And he was probably my biggest concern as far as friends go, because I did not want, I love this person, I did not want to lose, the relationship and the friendship with him. It just was so many, many years, and we had so much history together. And I gingerly wrote an out letter for work, one for the firehouse, and then I made one just for Mark and Debbie. I planned the whole thing with him. I thought I was on top of everything. I didn't think anybody would catch me off guard. And it just so happens I wrote this whole coming out letter to him, pretty much following guidelines of what other people have done over the years. And I emailed this to him one night, right after I called him. And I said, Mark, I said, there's something really, really important that I have to tell you, and I don't want you to respond right away. I want you to think about this, digest it, take a couple, 2 or 3 days, and then think about it, and then let's talk. And that was the game plan. And he said, all right. And I said, now listen, here's what I want you to do. Tonight, on the Discovery Health channel, there's going to be a show I want you to watch at 9 o'clock. I said 9 o'clock sharp, Discovery Health channel. Little did he know that the show was about coming out as a transsexual or transgendered. And I had planned it all. I mean, I called him at 8:30. The show's coming on, you know, you and Debbie need to watch this, blah, 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 blah. And I guess you have to realize that I have a very colorful past. And I've pretty much tried and done everything. So he pays attention when I say something to him like that. And so I was an avid hunter and all kinds of stuff like that. So I had, you know, there was firearms in my home, and I was involved in so many different things. So he and Debbie agreed to watch the show, and halfway through the show I would send them the email, and then they should look at it, and we agreed to how we were going to handle all this. Little did they know the bomb that was going to drop on them. And so I sat down, turned on the TV, and I watched the show in its entirety. And about 10 minutes before the end, I hit the send button on the computer, and off went the drafted email with the rest of my story and how important it was to me not to lose them. And they sat down, they got their glass of wine and their beer, and they went into their Florida room and turned on the TV and settled in to watch the Discovery Channel. Mind you, it was not the Discovery Health Channel. And they just happened to have a show starting at the same exact time. And the show was on mercenaries. And you have to remember, I have a colorful past. So Mark proceeded to take a sip of his beer and looked over at Debbie and said, Jesus Christ, what has he gotten into now? And it was a whole show wrapped around mercenaries. And they, as I had wished, they watched the entire show. And then they went afterwards and signed on to their email. And quite to their relief, it was just that I was a girl. And about a half hour later, my phone rang and said, get your ass down here in the morning. We want to sit and talk. So it was quite humorous, unlike the rest of my transition, which was scary. But you know, we laugh about it today. I still have the letter, and I still tell people about it because it was probably one of the lighter moments in my transition. That, you know, you never get more than you can handle, but you get what you need. And I think that was a way of taking some of the pressure I was feeling off of me. So it was quite the experience, and I am still really close friends with them to this day and love them to death. On the other side of that, you know, the other side of transition is the part about work, and we need to feed ourselves when this is said and done. and this is serious, plan it. Don't, you really have to get out of the euphoric stage about who you are and really worry about feeding yourself when this is over. So I've done some other videos with Lady Vixen and stuff where I've touched this topic. You have to eat, you have to shelter yourself, you have to take care of your children if you had any or your animals or whatever. But most importantly, you have to survive and be able to support yourself. So you really need to do your homework. You need to look at the industry that you're in and make sure that you do all the homework that's required with that, and don't do it by yourself. You definitely want to base that, you want that all bounced off of a professional that will guide you, keep you from making mistakes, because they're going to be deer in the headlights when it's all said and done, and probably in most cases they're going to think the worst, and it's going to be your job to make sure that you assure them that everything's going to be okay. We live in a time where there's been improvement for us and continues to be, but there's also people that go around that are flaming for no other, that's not the right word, but they're flaming, and they are drawing bad attention to us, and the media still does that. But when it comes to work, definitely bounce this off of somebody that will guide you in the right ways. Somebody that has experience too. If you're going to get a gender therapist, you want one that's got years of experience and not somebody that will take your money, because there's a lot of folks out there that have no experience and are really willing and glad to lighten your wallets. So at any rate, that's my video for this week, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody else's, and I'm glad that Harley stepped up, and we are reorganizing and getting ourselves back on to the right foot. Have a great day. Peace. Have a good week. Spring's almost here. Take care. Bye.